and welcome back to the Boot Room. Today we're going to look at the 4-1 win over Man United. Watford played with an attacking shape of 4-3-3, with Louza playing at the base of the midfield, allowing Sissoko and Cleverley to move further forward. We reverted to a game plan similar to the Everton game, of a high condensed press, forcing numbers around the ball, and as a result ending up winning back possession far higher up the pitch. Man United, who fired their head coach this morning, seem to have had little or no game plan themselves, and seem to think that the superiority of their expensively assembled squad would translate to dominance. It did not, and Ranieri showed that the squad appears to be moving in the right direction. King was played on the left, and this allowed him and Messina to dominate physically against Sancho and Wan-Bissaka. Dennis moved into the centre and was a perpetual hindrance to the United centre-backs and stopped them playing the ball forward with any quality. This, combined with our superiority of numbers in proximity to the ball, meant that we kept winning the second ball, often without even having to commit to a tackle. From a Man United throw, a woefully mishit connection from Fernandes saw the ball spiral high into the air. King reacted quickest for McTominay to foul him in the area to give away a penalty. Sarr hit the penalty weakly and it was saved, but Kiko put away the rebound, only for a retake to be ordered following a VAR review. Sarr's second penalty was again hit at a comfortable height for De Gea to save. At this point, and with a few weeks of less than convincing performances from Sarr, we could have seen him go into hiding, and the fact that he didn't is a tribute to his strength, which is more than his body language would suggest on occasions. Louza, who has struggled for game time in the league after a poor collective showing at Brighton, but here he showed a lot of quality in this game, not least his delivery of corners, allowing an in-swinger to cause the United defence problems. Whilst on occasions he tries to hit the killer pass a little too quickly and surrenders possession, instead it is clear to see that he brings a passing range that the midfield to date has not provided. If we show some patience with him, then we really might get to see the player that we hoped that we'd sign. We continued to press high and forced United into looking rudderless for long periods, often surrendering the ball, and Louza tidying up possession by feeding Kiko in space. With the quality of the United players that United possess, they did have some attempts on goal and Ben Foster pulled off a couple of smart saves, but the momentum was with the home side. Dennis here came deep, and his determination saw us break from a defensive shape of 4-1-4-1 quickly upfield. Sarr's ball across for Dennis was cut out, but it showed that Watford have really both a pressing and a counter-attacking game progressing from the training ground to the matchday pitch. Whilst Watford pressed high and aggressively, United didn't really press at all. The time difference between these two frames is 15 seconds, and at no time does Ronaldo look to put Foster under pressure. Now, you could argue that asking one of the world's best players to press a keeper might be a waste, but in that time, Watford have moved upfield collectively to contest the ball, win it, win the second ball again, and for Louza to again release Femenia. The ball ended up with Dennis at the far post, who twisted and turned before pushing the ball back across for King to finish with his left. 1-0 to Watford. The pattern of the game continued, with Watford offering by far the greater threat and urgency, both on and off the ball. Louza here threads an exquisite pass in behind Lindelof for King. The second goal arrived completely in keeping with the game. Femenia combined with Sarr and the irrepressible Cleverley to set up Sarr, and with a shooting chance which he buried past De Gea, 2-0. The second half saw the woefully underutilised Donny van der Beek enter the game, and the former Ajax man injected some urgency and quality into the United side. Not only did van der Beek pull a goal back soon after the break from a Ronaldo header following a Sancho cross, but he also offered some intent by passing the ball in behind Messina to try to bring Sancho more into the game. Watford during this spell soaked up a lot of pressure and would then be looking to hit United on the break, and so the game would stay far closer and more tense than the final scoreline would really suggest at the end. The tribute on 60 minutes for Watford supporter Kevin Norman was wonderfully respected both by Watford and by United fans. Maguire brought down an increasingly threatening Sarr just outside the box and received his first yellow card of the day. The Senegalese forward received yet more attention when Van der Beek went through him with a more than robust challenge, which eventually forced Sarr to be substituted. Watford were back and pressing whenever they were able, and a poor touch from Maguire allowed Cleverley to nip in front of him. Maguire clumsily scythed him down, and the England centre-back was sent off for his second yellow. The game continued to ebb and flow, with United down to 10 men, but individually good enough to try to force the issue. An offside flag and errant finishing meant that going into the final minutes, the score remained 2-1. Substitute João Pedro showed real intent, and with a couple of efforts before Emmanuel Dennis slipped him in to finish with a fierce shot that beat De Gea at his near post. The young Brazilian's tearful reaction was a fitting tribute to his recently departed stepfather, and was accompanied by his teammates. 3-1. A long ball out from Foster was knocked down to Hernandez, who shaped for a spectacular shot. However, the ball was taken off him by Dennis, whose momentum took him through to finish across De Gea from almost the same spot that João Pedro had scored from only moments before. Dennis, again, channelled the Everton performance by removing his top and going full knee slide towards the lower Graham Taylor stand. Groundsman Scott Tingley is probably still recovering from the shock. Summary. The press was simply magnificent. It was aggressive, it was done in groups, or it was done by the whole team. It denied Man United space and any momentum, especially in the first half. Our ability to counter when we will inevitably come under pressure ourselves looks like a real plan B that Ranieri has been working on. Flexibility from players such as Sissoko, who moved from his deep position in midfield to a more forward and a more dynamic one, Dennis and King swapping positions, really shows that we have options within the 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1 system, and that's excellent. Loser, this was a real step forward for him, and we want to see more of that. The man of the match was awarded to Cleverley, but could have realistically gone to any one of 6 or 7 other players as well, and the whole squad played well above average. It was a really good performance. The next steps is to do it consistently, but we've got to remember the opposition that we're going to be playing over the next few games. But if we can take this level of performance, we can at least enjoy those performances.